So as you come onto your mat, you would find a kneeling position, usually more towards the back edge of your mat. And here child's pose has a lot of different variations. First and foremost, if it doesn't agree with your knees or your hips or your low back, you can always flip over onto your back and just take knees into chest. If your hips or your low back are really tight, feel free to instead come on down onto your elbows rather than bringing your forehead all the way down to your mat. Or you can put a pillow underneath of your torso and make it a little bit more of a restorative type posture. Now your head can be in neutral as long as you're working to relax your neck and your shoulders, or you can make your head hang heavy, or it can rest on the floor. And it's okay to take a few wiggles, to not settle for sort of comfortable, to move around just a little bit and allow your body to settle into a variation of this pose that feels the best for you right now in this moment. And then as you come into stillness, beginning to recognize what is going on in your body. These are unprecedented times. We're experiencing things that we have never experienced in our lifetime before. And they have an impact on our emotions, our mental health, and in turn on our bodies. So just observing how your body feels in this moment, connecting with it without judging. Allowing yourself to feel and be okay with whatever emotions or feelings surface at any point throughout this class or even off of your mat. Then pull your focus a little bit deeper into the center of your body and into your breath. Feeling the movement of your body as the air comes in and out of your lungs. Not only in just the front side or the back side of your body, but how it impacts your torso in the full 360 degrees. And then beginning to take your breath and make it a little bit deeper. See if you can fill more fully with air on the inhale. And a very slow, controlled exhale. Your breath may come in and out of your nose, or in through your nose and out your mouth, or if you're a little congested, in and out of your mouth. Tap into what feels right for you in this moment. Now, as you focus on your breath, if you'd like, you can internally repeat to yourself the mantra, so hum. On the inhale, it's so. As you breathe in the ether, the space that surrounds, filled with the vibration of the universe, and hum on the exhale, as that vibration fills your entire being, connecting you to the rest of the universe. So, hum. You may also take this time to set an intention for your class today. It's not required, and it might just simply be what brought you onto your mat today. And we'll take 3 clearing breaths together. Exhale all your air out. Take a big, deep inhale through your nose. Fill completely. And exhale, sigh it out. Big inhale through your nose. Exhale like you're fogging a mirror. Last big, deep inhale. And if you'd like, you can get vocal with the exhale. Coming back to a natural rhythm, and if you'd like, continuing on with So Hum. As you walk your hands over towards the left side of your mat. Now, if your arms are extended out, that's pretty easy to do. If you're on your forearms, you can still walk your elbows over to the left side of your mat, and then breathe into the right side of your body. Trying to find just a little bit of space through the right side ribs as we extend through the right side and compress a little bit on the left. Find a comfortable position for your head. Your head can turn to the side. You can rest on your arm instead of the floor. Whatever feels comfortable for your neck. And walk your hands over to the right side of your mat. And you'll probably notice a difference between the right and the left, that you have a little bit more range of motion or bigger range of motion on one side than the other. And instead of extending to what you think matches the other side, just come into a position that feels comfortable and right for this side. And walk your hands or your elbows back to the center. As you inhale, come forward into tabletop. And if you're on your back, come up and join us on hands and knees. Stacking your shoulders over your wrist, hips over your knees. Generally, the index fingers come parallel to the right and left side of the mat, and then all the other fingers spread out wide from there. Grip with the pads of your fingers like you're trying to kind of grab a handful of your mat so that you can bring some activation into the muscles of your hands and take some of the tension out of your wrists. And inhale, drop your belly down, bring your head up, tailbone up into cow pose. Exhale, round your spine, tuck your chin to your chest, tailbone under into cat. And inhale, drop your belly down, extend out through your heart. And exhale to round, push into your hands, even the tops of your feet, the shoelace side. Continue through cat and cow with the rhythm of your breath. Each person's breath is unique like a snowflake. And the breath feels right for you in this moment. Might be a little bit slower. It might be a little bit faster. It's not about controlling the breath. It's allowing it to flow at its rhythm. And then changing position with the change in your breath. We do have other styles, a lot of vinyasa styles where we change and control the breath to match the movement. But here I just want you to recognize when it naturally wants to come in and out of your body, and then move your body into the next position. Now, if you'd like, you can also take one full round of breath in each position, a full inhale, full exhale in each, and see how that changes the experience of the pose through the breath. Take one more of each. And after your final cat, just coming back into a neutral spine. Lean your hips to the left, look over your right shoulder. So just use your body weight simply to lean into the hip. And if it feels better, you can have your knees together rather than at hip distance. Be aware of how it feels in your neck and adjust your gaze if you feel discomfort. Inhale through center, exhale, lean right, look left. Inhale through center, exhale, lean left, look right. And then last, come back through center, lean right, look left. Notice the differences between the right and the left hip, or maybe how it feels in the side body and in your spine. Come back to the center. Bring your right foot up to the top of your mat, framing your foot with your hands. And if you have something to put your hands on for height, either blocks or something that serves as blocks, it might be a little bit more comfortable at this point. Then scoop your tailbone under, and as you exhale, lean forward into the left hip and extend your heart out as you slide your shoulder blades down your back. Inhale, slide your hips halfway back, and on your exhale, straighten your right leg all the way out. Pull your toes up towards your face or towards your shin, half splits. Inhale, walk your hands forward, bend into the right knee, and exhale, extend into your left hip. Lift your heart, lift your gaze. Your eyes might even come up towards the ceiling. Inhale, halfway back, and exhale, extend your right leg out, half splits. Now, if it feels better for you, your toes can stay pointed. Maybe that's a position that feels good for your body today, or they can pull up and back. Inhale, walk forward, and exhale, sink into Anjaneyasana. Inhale, halfway back, and exhale, straighten the right leg. Now we're going to hold here for a couple of breaths. So as you hold here, be careful not to lock out your right knee. You can make this a little bit active. Get the hamstring and the glute to fire up by pressing down into the right heel or actively dragging your right heel back towards the back edge of your mat. Like you're trying to slide your heel back or pulling back through the right sit bone and feeling the hamstring kind of tighten up and tense up. You might feel a little bit of shaking of the leg. That's okay. Take a big inhale, press a little bit harder, then relax your right leg. Inhale, extend out through your heart. Exhale, bow at your hip crease, maybe taking it just a little bit deeper. Good. Walk your hands forward, bend back into your right knee. Bring both hands to the inside of your right foot and pivot to the left, coming into a frog position. So this one can be a little tricky for a lot of people. There's a lot of different options. You can come into just like a wide-kneed child's pose once again, if that feels a little bit better, or your feet can go out to the sides. You can be kind of anywhere in between. Here we start with the hands on the floor and your torso a little bit more upright. And I want you to kind of rock a little bit forward and back. So just kind of forward and back, and just noticing how that experience or changes the experience as you shift through the different planes. So just forward and back just a little bit here. And if you want, you can use a blanket for a little padding for your knees if that's a pressure point that doesn't feel quite so good. Now, if it feels like your hips are opening up just a little bit, feel free to take it down just a little bit, coming down onto your forearms. And that might be a halfway point onto some height, or you can come all the way to the floor. And you can either stay here and kind of hold in a little bit of stillness, or you can continue that little rocking motion. And just experiencing how the sensations change as you change where the pelvis is at in space. Now your head can be in neutral, again, or your head can hang heavy, relaxing your neck. But release your jaw. Allow a little space in between your teeth so that your jaw can fully relax. So we work into the hips, want a nice relaxed jaw. Good. If you've lowered down, come back up onto your hands. Bring your toes together if they're not already, and sit back onto your heels. Depending upon how long we hold this, I usually feel about 20 to 30 years older, sometimes 50 once we get done. So if you're feeling a little stiff and it's hard coming out, that's okay. And then walk your hands over to the left and we'll come into tabletop facing the opposite direction. Good. So stacking shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, passing again through cat and cow. Inhale, belly down, head up, tailbone up. And exhale, round your spine. Flow along with the rhythm of your breath. And again, choosing any additional movement that helps your spine warm up, to loosen up, to feel good in both the apex of each position, but also as you transition between the two. Take one more of each. And after your final cat, come back into a neutral spine. And bring your left foot up to the top of your mat. Again, framing your foot with your hands and using height if you want a little extra space for your torso. Good. Inhale. Exhale, slide your hips forward, lift your heart, extend out through your spine. Inhale, walk your hands back, lift your hips back. Exhale, straighten your left leg, half splits. Probably noticing a difference between the right and the left and honoring those. Inhale, begin to walk forward. And exhale, sink your hips, lift your heart. Inhale, walking back. And exhale, extend your left leg. Do one more of each. Use our exhale to enter into the deepest expression, to allow the tissues to relax. As you come back into your half splits, holding for a couple of breaths. Now, if you took the active approach on the other side, also doing it on this side. So press down into the left heel and or think about dragging your heel back towards your right knee or back towards the back edge of your mat. And breathe into it. A lot of times when we activate muscles and we're trying to push really hard, to have a tendency to hold our breath. So maybe a big, deep, open mouth breath. Continue to breathe, or maybe a calmer breath through your nose. Inhale, press a little bit harder, and exhale, relax your leg, bow at the hip crease. If you'd like to take it just a little bit deeper. Good. Begin to walk your hands forward, bend back into your left knee. Bring both hands to the inside of the left foot and begin to pivot to the right. So you kind of shift around back into your frog position. Now, because we've already been here, you may not have to start up on the hands. You might be able to drop down all the way down onto your blocks or where you ended the last time. You might even be able to take it a little deeper. If your body's a little bit more open, you can engage in more of a full frog with a heart melting posture, where your chest and your head or your chin come down to the mat to get a little spinal extension, along with a nice juicy hip opener. So the options are yours, and you can find a little bit of movement, or you can just kind of marinate in some stillness. Unhinge your jaw. Allow your inhales to fill the space of tension, and your exhales to carry the tension out of your body. Maybe it flows down your limb and out. Or maybe it just kind of dissipates with that exhale. If you've lowered down, come back up onto your hands. Bring your toes together. Sit back towards your heels, and maybe scooting your knees together just a little bit. Walk both hands over to the right side, coming back into a tabletop position. Taking a couple more rounds of cat and cow. Inhale, belly down, head up, tailbone up. And exhale to round. Now, if you're feeling discomfort in your low back, notice that's why I tuck my toes under in cow pose. It helps me to find some width, some separation in my low back, some decompression in that area. So if you're feeling discomfort in your low back, focus really a lot on lengthening out, heart and tailbone out, rather than dipping your belly really low. And you can try tucking your toes under. Good. Take one more of each. And after your final cat, just come back into neutral. Now, no matter where you're at, we're going to tuck your toes under. Press into your hands. So instead of letting your heart sink down towards the mat, lift your heart through your upper back to the ceiling as you press the floor away from you. Then tuck your toes under and lift your hips or your knees, both actually, but lift your knees so that they hover above the mat about an inch. In Pilates, this is called rabbit, and it's a nice little core activation exercise. So keep pressing into the mat. A lot of times we sink into the shoulders, press the floor away from you. If you'd like a little bit more activation, try to pull your hands and your feet towards one another. Last but not least, don't forget to breathe. And just notice all the parts that are beginning to fire up. Your abdominals, your hip flexors, maybe your quadriceps, maybe a little bit around the ribs. Good. Take one more big inhale. On your exhale, downward facing dog. Maybe separating your feet and your hands just a little bit farther apart. And start to walk it out. Alternate lifting and dropping your heels. Press your heart back to the space in between your legs. And maybe if it feels good, start to walk your feet a little close together. And then as you pedal them out, start to walk them out wide until they touch the edges of your mat. And just notice the difference as you take a different foot position in your downward facing dog. And then slowly coming back into about hip distance as you settle into stillness. Then look forward to the top of your mat and tippy toe walk to the top, coming into forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, reset your spine. Exhale, forward fold. Walk your hands up your legs or just roll up one vertebra at a time. Feeling them stack, all of the joints stack in alignment. We come into the three corners of the feet, and your hands rest down by your sides. Inhale, sweep your arms up overhead, look up. Hands come down to heart center, Samastitihi. Taking a moment of silence and stillness here. In your mind, maybe repeating, so hum. Or checking back in with your intention for class today. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold, bend in your knees. Inhale, halfway lift, long flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Step back with your left foot into low lunge, all the way to the back of your mat. As you exhale, straighten your right leg, intense side stretch. Inhale, come forward into low lunge. Sink your hips, lift your heart. And here, putting as little weight into your fingertips or your hands as possible to help build stability and strength in your legs. Exhale, intense side stretch. Spine is nice and long, heart forward towards your toes. Inhale, forward, low lunge. And exhale, back, intense side stretch. Come forward into low lunge, pivot to the left into a wide forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, extend out. Exhale, forward fold. You can stay here with your hands underneath of your shoulders, and that might be up on your height, or it might be all the way down to the mat. If you'd like a little bit more spinal extension, you can take a down dog torso with your wide angle forward fold legs. Either coming up onto fingertips or down to your palms. Reach out through the crown of your head, inhale. Exhale, sink your heart down. Walk your hands back underneath of your shoulders. Walk both hands over towards your left foot, pivot into low lunge. Good. Inhale, lengthen out. Exhale, intense side stretch. Straighten your left leg. Press down through your right heel to feel it a little bit more in the back leg. Inhale forward. Pull in through your navel. Exhale back, intense side stretch. And inhale forward. And exhale back. Come forward into low lunge. Plant your hands astride your left foot and take a step back into downward facing dog. Okay. Lift up onto your toes. Exhale, bend your knees, hover into rabbit. So we're kind of in tabletop. The knees aren't all the way down to the mat. They're just hovering. Straighten your legs out into high plank. And back into downward facing dog. And look forward to the top of your mat and tippy toe walk to the top, or you can hop or float. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, sweep all the way up. Hands come down to heart center. And just taking a moment to check in with yourself, Your breath, your body, your intention. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Step back with your right foot into low lunge. Exhale, intense side stretch. Now if your hamstrings are opening up, pick your toes up and pull them up towards your shin if that feels good. Just be careful not to lock out your left knee. Good, come forward into low lunge. Press down into your left foot. Spring off your right toes or just using the strength in the left leg. Standing splits. Bend into your left knee. Reach through your right toes. Step back into low lunge. Exhale, intense side stretch. Come forward into low lunge. Press down into your left foot. Step up, standing splits. Bend into your left knee, reach through the right toes. If it doesn't land as wide as you like, you can shimmy it back once you land. Exhale, intense side stretch. Come forward into low lunge. Pivot to the right into a wide-legged forward fold. Bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees. Inhale to come all the way up into standing. Turn your heels in and your toes out and extend your arms out, 5-pointed star. On your exhale, bend your knees, cactus arms either high or low into goddess pose. Here, pull your navel in, pull your pelvic floor up, and squeeze your shoulder blades together as you draw your bottom ribs in. And if you'd like to check yourself, you can place one hand on your belly. That tactile reminder to pull the ribs in, pull your navel in. And then keeping that in place, bring your hands back into your cactus position. Inhale, stand up, reach up tall. Exhale, come down into goddess. Here, trying to drag your feet apart. We don't actually want them to slide, but like you're trying to push them apart and feeling your glutes and hamstrings fire up and help support here a little bit. Good, inhale, stand up, reach up tall. Exhale, come down, goddess. Bring your hands to your thighs. Let them slide down your legs as you lean forward just a little bit. Shoulders can relax a little bit. They might shrug up by your ears as we get a nice stretch on the top of the shoulder. Turn your left shoulder in, look to the right. Keep pressing out on both inner thighs to keep your knees tracking over the second toe. Turn your right shoulder in, look to the left. And left shoulder in, look to the right. And right shoulder and look to the left. Come back to center. Inhale, stand up. Exhale, swan dive, wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Walk both hands over towards your right foot, pivot into low lunge. Exhale, intense side stretch. Come forward into low lunge. Prepare your right leg to support the weight of your body. Press down into your right foot. Take a step up, standing splits. Bend into your right knee. Softly land the left foot at the back of your mat. Exhale, intense side stretch. Come forward into low lunge. Press down, lift up, standing splits. Take a step back into low lunge. Bring your hands down to the floor to frame your right foot. Step back into downward facing dog. Inhale, bunch your toes. Exhale, bend your knees, hover, rabbit. So we're up on the very tip toes. Straighten your legs out, high plank. Exhale, back, downward facing dog. Look to the top of your mat. You can step, hop, or float. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Reverse swan dive coming all the way up. Hands down to heart center. Check in with your feet, your foundation. Finding an even amount of weight between big toe, little toe mount, and heel. Zip up through the inner thighs, up into the pelvic floor, and soften your shoulders. Inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your hands to your blocks or to the floor. Pick up your left foot. Hug your left heel in towards your left sit bone like you're trying to squeeze orange juice out of an orange that's stuck between your thigh and your calf. So squeeze in nice and tight. Then extend your left leg out, standing splits. Reach back with your left foot. Step back into low lunge. Exhale, intense side stretch. Now here we're going to hold for a couple of breaths. You can keep your hands on your blocks or the floor, or you can take a bind behind your back. Bringing your hands up, interlace behind your back. This would be a great place for a small hand towel or a strap. We really want to press back into the left foot to help get a little bit of stability from the back leg. Keep dragging your right back if you'd like a little more activation in the right leg. Pull your navel in and squeeze your shoulder blades together. If you're in the bind, release your hands down. Back into your right knee, low lunge. Step up, standing splits. Take a mindful step back into low lunge. Pivot to the left into wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Bring your hands to your hips, bend your knees. Inhale to come all the way up. Turn your heels into your toes out, 5-pointed star. Exhale, come down, goddess. Inhale, stand up, reach up tall. Exhale, come down, drag your feet apart. Inhale, come back up, and exhale down. Now again, you can bring your hands to your thighs, let them slide down as your torso drops down, and just sway a little bit from side to side. You can stay a little bit more upright, or if it feels good to your body, your hands can come down to the floor, to the blocks. Finding just a little bit different hip openers. I also like to place my elbows, if I don't fall over, on my inner thighs, and get a little bit of extra help to open my knees out and just kind of open my hips a little bit more. So that's an option. I just wouldn't place it right on the knee joint. Inner thigh is good. Good. Inhale, stand up, 5-pointed star. Swan dive, wide-legged forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Walk both hands over towards your left foot, pivot into low lunge. Take a step up, standing splits. Take a very careful step back into low lunge. Exhale, intense side stretch. Again, this round we're going to hold it for a couple of breaths. So kind of locking in your legs, press back with the right heel. Press down into the left foot. Option to take a little bit of a heart opener. This might just be airplane arms, challenging your core here. If we think about squeezing the shoulder blades together, it helps to engage the muscles along the back of your spine to help support here. It's not just the front abdominals. If you're in a bind, release your hands back down. Come forward into low lunge. Take a step up once again, standing splits. Good, step back into low lunge. Plant your hands down onto your mat, downward facing dog. Inhale, lift up onto your toes. Exhale, bend your knees, hover rabbit. Inhale, high plank. Downward facing dog. We do 4 more of those. Inhale, lift up onto your toes. Exhale, rabbit. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Number 3, inhale. Exhale, rabbit. High plank. Downward facing dog. Number 4, inhale, lift up. Exhale, hover. High plank. Downward facing dog. And last one, inhale, toes. Exhale, hover. Inhale, high plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Drop down to your knees into tabletop. And take a seat back once again into child's pose. We've been here before, but remembering that this moment is different than the last. Take a scan of your body. Find what things, variations your body needs right now. If your hips are a little bit more open, you might take a little bit different variation with the legs. Or you may just choose a little bit of ease and not press all the way up to the edge. Only you know is what is best for your body. Check back in with your body and your breath, your intention, or the collective mantra, so hum. Come forward into tabletop. Continue to walk your hands forward into puppy dog pose. Here, bringing your forehead down onto the mat or onto some height if your forehead won't go all the way down to the floor. And this can be really tricky for a lot of people's shoulders. The traditional pose is with the arms extended all the way out. But if that doesn't feel good for you, trying different options. A diamond shape with your fingertips together and your elbows wide. A little bit wider position. Maybe kind of a goal post or a wide diamond. You can even try rotation, thumbs up or palms up. The couple other options are just coming down onto your forearms and allowing your chest to sink in between your forearms, where you're more on your elbows and forearms. Or you can bring your hands together in prayer, bend your elbows, bringing your thumbs to the back of your neck. So these are all options that you can do in your puppy dog or heart melting pose. You know, also the option to incorporate blocks where your forehead or your is on a block instead of all the way down to the floor. This helps us step it back just a little bit so it's not quite so intense. Picking the position that feels right for you, and not just necessarily in your shoulder joint, but in your neck and between your shoulder blades and your upper back. Might even experience some pretty significant sensations in your mid or lower back. It's all connected all the way down. So just observe without judgment where you might be experiencing this pose. Breathing your inhale into that tension and allowing a little bit to release with your exhale. And walk your hands back underneath of your shoulders, coming back into tabletop. Squaring off your shoulders and your hips. Inhale, reach your left hand up to the ceiling, open your heart. Exhale, thread the needle. Coming into resting your head, more so on your temple rather than your ear, and your left shoulder. If this isn't easily accessible for you, you can spread your knees a little bit further apart. You can sit your hips back, or you can sit your hips a little bit more forward. You can also place a bolster, a pillow, or a block underneath your shoulder or your head. Now you can stay here and just enjoy this nice twist, picking a position for your right arm that feels good. A lot of different options, sliding your hand forward in front of you, reaching up towards the ceiling or wrapping behind your back. Or if you'd like, you can add in a core element here. Let's start by picking up your right knee and extending your right foot back behind you. Keeping the toes and the ball of the foot on the floor to begin with. Noticing how that feels. Now you might stay here, or you can lift your right foot up and extend it back to hip height. Now your pelvis can stay facing the floor, or you can begin to open the face of the pelvis so that your hips begin to stack right on top of the left. Now pressing down and finding compression in your balance points, which are your left knee and your left shoulder, maybe your right hand. Pressing into the outer edge of your left arm, shoulder and arm. Now we might bring the right hand up and bring it to your hip or extend all the way up to the ceiling. This is one of those poses where it can go south pretty quickly, but luckily we don't have very far to fall. If we do happen to topple over, you just get up and try again. Now there's no rush to come out. We take as much care and time coming out as we did coming in. So stair stepping backwards in the same order that you came in. Just slowly and mindfully unbinding, unwinding, and coming back in to tabletop. Right hand is underneath your right shoulder and you press into the right hand. Coming back up, you might open your chest and release back down into tabletop. Take a few wiggles or a cat and cow if that feels good. And when your body has come back into neutral, trying the other side. Right arm reaches up to the ceiling. Exhale, thread your needle. Finding that those compression points, we even press a little bit into the right temple so that you have stability in your neck and your upper back. Now, it may be a lot easier on one side than it is on the other. And just observing without judgment what it is. Taking your time, there's no rush. You take each point step by step. Waiting until our body is ready to progress on to the next step. Remembering to breathe. When we flex the muscles or concentrate really hard, sometimes we just forget to breathe. Taking 4 more breaths in any position of choice. After your 4th breath, slowly stair step your way out. Make your way slowly back into tabletop. And once you're in tabletop, take a little counter movement that feels good for you. And then coming over onto a seat. You can roll onto one hip, or you can cross your legs and come back into your seat. Then bring your feet forward, bringing them to hip distance. Your hands come behind your hips. And if it feels good, your fingers point forward towards your seat. You can also turn them out to the sides. Or if it feels better, pointing back towards the back edge of your mat. No matter what position you've chosen here, squeeze your shoulder blades together. Widen between your collarbones, extend your heart out. Press down into your hands as you lift up through your heart. Take a nice seated back bend. Pressing down as your heart and your collarbones are lifting up. And we're finding as much space in your spine as you possibly can. Your eyes stay forward until the very last moment. And I want you to think or remember that your neck is a part of your spine. And we want just as much extension out through the crown of your head and length in your neck as we do in the rest of your spine. So instead of just letting your head flop back, think about extending out. Go ahead and relax. Extend your legs out. You might take a slight bend in your knees or a little width between your feet as we take a seated forward fold. Maybe moving some tissue out of the way. Sit up nice and tall, nice flat back. Reach up through your heart and bow forward at your hip crease. If you have trouble starting off with a upright pelvis, try raising your sit bones up by sitting on a pillow or a blanket or a block. With each inhale, extend out just a little bit more, and on your exhale, finding softness, which may or may not lead to a little bit more depth. You can grip on the back of your thighs, your calves, your ankles, or your feet. And you can always keep a bend in your knees. I don't know if you can tell with the dark mat and the dark pants, I have a pretty big bend in my knees right here. It just feels so much better, but I still feel a nice stretch through my hamstrings. Then come all the way back up. Bring your hands back behind your hips. Bend your knees. Place your feet flat on the floor, hip distance apart. Now you can come back into the seated heart opener, or join me into a reverse tabletop. Want your neck in neutral alignment with the rest of your spine. So your eyes are most likely looking up towards the ceiling. Press into your heels. Try to extend your hips up towards the ceiling. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Lift your heart up to the ceiling. Last but not least, don't forget to breathe. Embrace the shake. It's okay, it might happen. And spend a little bit of time giving gratitude for the strength in your body. Right? Instead of noticing the points where it might start to, want to come out, instead feel the strength. Good. Lower your seat back down. Extend your legs out. Sit up nice and tall. And exhale, bow forward. Seated forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Reset your spine. Exhale, fold forward. Now, if your spine is extended out nice and long, especially in the lumbar area, at the point where you reach your end point, where we're a little bit up close to that edge, if you'd like a little bit more experienced on the back side of your spine, drop your chin down to your chest. You might even allow your shoulders to round ever so slightly. Notice where you experience this. And if it's an unpleasant experience, flatten back out. Keep your spine extended out nice and long. But if it feels good, you can keep the slight round in the upper half of your spine, chin to chest. Come all the way back up. Keep your legs extended out. Bring your hands behind your hips. Now you can come into another seated back bend. You can come into reverse tabletop, or you can come into reverse plank. Press down into your heels, lift your hips up. I like to point my toes. That helps me feel like I can lift my hips a little bit higher, get my glutes and hamstrings to turn on and help lift, extending the hips up. Squeeze your shoulder blades together, lift through your heart, neck in neutral alignment. Give thanks for the strength. Feel the muscles contract. Feel that beautiful strength within your body. Good. Lower all the way back down. One more seated forward fold. Lift up nice and tall. Find the neutral spine first. Tilt at the pelvis, at the hip crease. Heart forward towards your toes. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Come all the way back up. Scoot forward on your mat so that you have enough room to lay all the way down onto your back. You can take a slow roll, or you can just flop on back. Take your knees into your chest. Here, movement or stillness, whatever serves your body in this moment. Keep your right knee drawn in. Your left knee drawn in, right leg extends out. Take your left knee across your body into a spinal twist. Your left arm might extend out into a T position or into cactus. Your eyes might follow your left hand or just simply look up to the sky. Inhale, create space in your spine. Lengthen out. Exhale, soften. Allow your body to relax into your twist. Use your abdominals on the exhale to come back to center. Bring both knees back into your chest. Keep your right knee drawn in, left leg extends out. Exhale, roll into your twist. Using your body as the guide as to where to take this twist. What variations might serve your body best? Use your abdominals on the exhale to come back to center. Take your knees into your chest. Hug your nose up to your knees. Give yourself a nice big squeeze. Then extend long in both directions, taking a big full body good morning stretch. Then release your hands down by your sides. Coming into the position of your choice for final relaxation. Shavasana. Maybe reclined butterfly, corpse pose, side lying position, feet up the wall. The choice is yours. Recognize any areas where you might be holding on to any remaining stress or tension. Feel the space between your eyebrows soften. Allow your jaw to unhinge. Feel your heart lift on your inhale, and the back of your shoulders sink on your exhale. And release control of your breath. Inhale, filling yourself with vibration of the universe. Maybe repeating so. On the exhale, let that vibration of the universe penetrate your entire being. Hum. We're all connected through this cosmic vibration. Observe any sensations that arise, any emotions that come to light. Observe without attachment any thoughts that come into this time and space. Remembering that there is so much more to you than your thoughts. This inner light, this inner beauty. You may stay in your final relaxation as long as you like. You're ready to move on with the rest of your evening. Bring a little bit of awareness into your extremities, wiggling your fingers and toes. And when you're ready, rolling on to one side. And keep your eyes closed. Just marinating in the sensations. Use your hands to help press yourself up into a seated position of your choice. Bring your hands together in a prayer position, allowing the knuckles of your thumbs to come to third eye to honor kind thoughts, descending down to your lips to honor kind words. Finally bringing them to your heart space, to honor kind intentions. And as we bow the thinking mind to the seat of the light and the love within, I honor that vibration that is within you because it also is within me. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. Namaste.